Oh, I think it's okay. Let me turn. Oh, it says my volume.
Your mics.
Yep.
you go.
Yep.
Good evening. We are here for the Danvers Planning Board meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m. Lou George is absent today, so I will be filling in as the chair. Michael DeCoulis will be filling in as clerk. I'm here with Jim Sears and Dave Rodriguez. So our first agenda item is a public hearing for 54 Cherry Hill Drive, request for site plan review submitted by Abiomed Incorporated for property at 54 Cherry Hill Drive, map 29, lot 11, pursuant to section 4, site plan review of the zoning bylaw. Said property is in the industrial 2, I-2 zoning district. The applicant is proposing to construct a new building addition and parking lot expansion and associated site modifications. So can the applicant please introduce yourself? Thank you.
Hello, let me know if anyone can hear me.
Yes. We can hear you, Danelle.
How you doing? Sorry for the impromptu. I'm gonna briefly give an overview, and then we could go forward with the meeting. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Danelle Baptiste, project manager for High Point. We are here for a site plan review and approval for 54 Cherry Hill Drive on behalf of J&J and Abiomed. Tonight we have our project team, myself, we have the Director of Landscape Architecture, Mike Radner, and we have Cindy Murphy, who's representing Genesis. Next slide, please. So I thought it was important to give a site perspective so the board could get an idea of how the existing conditions currently lie. So if you pay attention, I would signal you to the numerical values on the right, signifying the locations on site that you could kind of get a perspective of what you're looking at. Starting with number 1, you're looking at the corner of the building, more specifically the looking easterly at a corner of the existing building that will be raised. Item number 2, you're looking at northerly at a portion of the existing warehouse building that is going to be to remain. 3, you're looking at a corner of the parking lot, looking in direction to where the proposed work will be performed, and so on and so forth. Just to give you a quick geographical orientation of the site, towards the north, you have some wetlands, and you have the Beverly Airport. To the west, you have the 2442 Cherry Hill Drive campus. To the south, we're bordered by Cherry Hill Drive, and to the east of that right side, you have some existing wetlands, and that side of the project will not be touched, but I thought it was important just to get kind of. Slide, please. So here we have the overall site layout, as you can see, and it's color coded to kind of give you graphics on proposed development that the client is providing. We have the legend on the bottom. Not sure if the board members could see that, but it's highlighted to give the different color code vegetations and BMP stormwater management features that Mr. Mike Radner was going to go into details on the subsequent slides. Next slide, please. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. This is the erosion control plan. The most important thing with this plan is to protect the adjacent wetlands. The plan was strategic in diverting flow from the resource areas to sediment trap that's located on the southwesterly part of the site. There's actually 2 that is strategically sized based on the erosion control measures of Massachusetts guidelines. We have some areas for staging, for stockpiling. At the end of the day, the GCs will be responsible for the final locations of these areas. Part of this erosion control and the programming of the site, we are proposing to raise about 8,000 square foot of that existing building. As you can see, in the dashed line represents the proposed building, just to give some perspective as to the proposed footprint versus the area that we're planning to raise. Part of the erosion control measures, we have silt sacks to protect the basins. We have a erosion control pad to kind of strip the tires off the heavy vehicles coming in and out the proposed site. We have a sediment trap, as I mentioned, and we have diversion swales that is directed to these settlement basins to prevent debris and silt from leaving the prospective site. Next slide, please. So this slide, as you can see to the right, I wanted to highlight the chart, which is pretty much the key item of today's hearing. I wanted to state that the project is in an industrial 2 zone, and it's in a marijuana dispensary overlay district. The use of a warehouse and office is by right, and it's being proposed for this project. As you can see in the yellow highlights, or I would say peach, if you will, that is the proposed building, and that would be office use. Just to the right of that peach shading is the existing building that will remain. Currently on site, there is existing parking. The proposed development is looking to expand that parking. Currently, there is 169 spaces. Part of the proposed development, we are increasing that 169 to a total of 267 spaces, so roughly about 100 spaces in the proposed programming. Part of the expansion, we are providing ADA accessible parking. To be more specific, we are providing 9 stalls and 3 van accessible parking, ADA parking. As part of the programming, the proposed programming, we are providing 10 EV-ready stalls for electrical vehicles to be able to charge their vehicles on site. A part of the proposed development is to provide a 2-story, 23,000 square foot office building. It's going to be two floors, and raise the 8,000 square foot existing building as previously discussed. Part of the improvements will be pedestrian-friendly walkways, an enhanced plaza area, and aesthetic landscape features that would be explained on the subsequent slides. We are providing snow removal, and they're strategically placed outside the 100-foot buffer zone and will be hauled off-site by a third-party company, and that will be handled by logistics of the Abumed Facilities Department. Next slide, please. Here's the grading and drainage plan. As part of the development, we are held to be in compliance with the Stormwater Management Handbook, Mass DEP, and the local regulations. Based on the increase in impervious areas, we are providing stormwater management that not only attenuates the flow, but also treats the requisite impervious area and recharge the situ soils as part of the increased impervious area to the site. To be more specific of some of the improvements of the drainage system, we have two contact water quality units. We have 3 yard drains, 2 precast outlet control structures, and an array of new catch basins with oil-covered hoods, which is required to aid in the TSS removal that's required. Currently, we are proposing 1 main infiltration basin and a small infiltration basin situated to the southeast, planned southeast, and a large basin is in between the 2442 Cherry Hill property and the entrance drive. Both basins meet Massachusetts DEP standards. To be more specific, we meet and exceed the requisite recharge requirements, and water quality for this site. You go on to the next slide, please. Utility, this is a basic utility plan. I'm not gonna spend too much time, but be willing to answer any questions at the specific time if need be. The site does not propose any change in the existing water and sewer to the building. The existing sewer and water will be handled interior to the building and reuse the existing water and reuse the existing sewer lines that exist today. The proposed utility consists of a new fire line, a hydrant fire that circumnavigates a portion of the site to feed the hydrants that are strategically located on site. The water lines will have thrust blocks and infrastructures to support having a hydrant on site, which will support any type of fire needs that exist today. I think that's about it. Next slide, please. So at this time, I would like to bring Mr. Mike Radner back to the podium, and he could further discuss the landscape aesthetics and trees and what have you to support the proposed site. Thank you.
Thanks, Danelle. Can you hear me? Maybe not. Good evening, Michael Radner. I'm a landscape architect with High Point in Dedham, Massachusetts, working closely with Danelle on this project. I do want to talk a little bit about actually just the pedestrian circulation for a moment. We have these 2 entries into the building right here, and I'm not to steal your thunder, Cindy. This is sort of the public-facing entry over here, and there's another secondary entry. I don't know if it's secondary, but this is more of an employee entry in this sort of knuckle between the 2 buildings. And Cindy can talk about what goes on in those buildings in a few moments. But I think that's important to show these sort of improved plaza entries there. So as far as the landscaping goes, we have, can you just sort of pan it up a little bit? Or is it? Zoom out a little bit? Sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to point out the 2 stormwater treatment areas that Danelle was mentioning there, and those provide sort of around those are the major green spaces on the campus. And I call it a campus because we have, there's 3 different lots that Abiomed utilizes on the site, and this is the 3rd one and the northernmost one. So we're trying to create some connectivity between among the buildings to create a campus-like feel. So these green spaces are very important, as there's going to be people that are traversing between or among these buildings to get back and forth. So we want them to have this sort of nice experience here. In addition, this is the low spot of the site, so we're draining into that large basin right there. As far as the rest of the decorative plantings, we have some large-scale sort of landscape improvements that are along Cherry Hill Drive, give a nice presentation to the building. We have some interior landscaping on the parking lots that provide some shade, and then the bulk of the sort of intensive planting comes around the building in the form of these beds right here. And then the stormwater basins will also be seeded with native vegetation that's sort of commensurate with the infiltration that's going to happen there. So it's kind of a low-mow situation. We'll have native vegetation growing up in those basins. And in fact, a lot of our, if we want to talk about plant selection, I don't know that we're 100% native on this, but we strive to get at least 2/3. We're at least between 2/3 and 100% native vegetation. It's good for the environment. Tend to be lower maintenance. They're more disease-resistant species. So that's our internal approach to landscaping. This will also be irrigated. All the landscaping here will be irrigated and maintained by Abiomed. So can go to the next slide. Don't expect anyone to be able to read this slide, but you've seen these before, the photometric plan that we've had done here, and I wanted to point out the different types of light fixtures. This is really small, but this is the parking lot light fixture, which is basically a down light. Everything, and these are dark sky compliant fixtures here, and the other fixtures that are more decorative are these bollard type fixtures which happen around the entries to the building. These are a continuation of what's happening on the rest of the campus. Again, trying to provide that sort of consistency of design and feel, materials and products throughout the campus. So we're continuing that design language. Next slide. And I'm going to turn it over to Cindy Murphy from Genesis.
Thank you. Cindy Murphy, I'm the Director of Architecture at Genesis out of our Medford office. So, like he was mentioning, this is part of an overall campus. This building is intended to supplement both existing programs that Abiomed has on site today, as well as relocate some others to this site. So this building doubles as providing seating for the new departments that will move to this location, as well as provide flex seating for their staff when they're working between building to building. So if you want to go to the next slide, actually, I'll talk about the outside of the building first. The building is metal panel with interspersed glazing. We are intending to use the color of the metal panel to help break down the scale of the building, as well as relate back to the other two buildings that are part of the campus. The primary entrance that was mentioned before is with this area right here on the south side, and that has a sort of eyebrow framing it, which would be seen from the street, allowing you to see inside where we will have signage, and that is the main guest entrance. The other entrance is around the back of it, and that is the primary entrance for their staff, as that is closest to most of the parking. If you want to go to the next slide. This is just a blow up of what we're looking at for the building. So varying window sizes, because most of this building is office space. We want to get daylight into the space for their staff, as well as be responsible to not have glass low on the ground, because this is New England and we all know how much snow we can either not get or get, like we did last year. The two proposed finishes that we're looking at right now are on the left, so a light gray and a little bit darker gray, to give some variation and help break down that scale of the building. If you want to go to the next slide. On that front side of the building, I mentioned this sort of eyebrow overhang that happens here around the entrance, and then both that front center and the other area located or shown in yellow will be a curtain wall. That it will be the main public space of the building where they bring guests into. We want to make it stand out. And on the next slide, this starts to show you what the building inside will be comprised of. It is primarily open office space, so we have a mix of different workstations types. We're still trying to work out who goes where as to how many people sit in the different sort of neighborhoods of the building. Like I mentioned, it is flex. It's meant to be a lot of flex seating. So a lot of these workstations will not be assigned to people. They will be there for people as they're moving between different sites, visiting for a day, or moving between the different buildings on campus. Some of the workstation in here will also support the staff that are working in the clean room building. So when we try to figure out what the head count is, where if you look just at seats, then you're going to wind up double counting because people working in the clean room predominantly have a seat in this building. So while we have more seats than it looks like we have a lot of people, those people are not permanent inhabitants of this building, and their staff works in shifts. So we want the people that do have a full shift in this building to have their own dedicated desk. So there's more desks than there are people at any point in time. Most of this light blue is open office throughout the building. The darker blue are either offices or smaller conference rooms and huddle rooms that their staff will use throughout the day. And purple are collaborative areas because we want their staff to come and work together. The building has a couple large sort of amenity gathering spaces. So when you first come in on that lower level, you come in through this lobby, which is a collaborative work environment. So people can go work at a desk. They can gather in the lobby. If they're meeting someone who already walked from 2 buildings over, they could choose to have their meeting here in this lobby. And then you have reception and conference area for guests as they come in. Right from that front entrance, you have a stair that gets you upstairs to the second floor, which is very similar to the first floor in layout. And at the back side of the building, the second stair brings you back down to that employee entrance, which is their main pantry gathering space, giving them, again, another option for how they work within the space, and connecting them to that back building, which is the clean room environment where some of their staff will spend half of their time or predominantly most of their time. The overall building, the square footage is on Donnell's drawings. It's about 23,000 square feet for each floor plate. You can see here on the second floor, this is the only part that is 2 stories. Part of this purple area here on the first floor is 1 story. As we connect to the other building, the scale will come down. The 2-story building is about 30 feet. It's 15-foot floor to floor currently. We're still designing everything on the interior, so that will flex a little bit, but we started at 15 feet to make sure we had room for structures and ductwork and all those fun things that we spend all of our CDs coordinating and hoping we get it right before construction starts. And then that connector in between should be around 15 feet in height. We're still working that one out if it's fully flat or sloped, as it meets the existing building, which does slope down towards the road. So it's a funky little geometry that we're working on there, but it is only 1 story where they connect to the 2 buildings. I think that's about it. If you want to go to the next slide. It is, so yeah, a 3D view of what the building currently looks like. If you've met an architect before, we kind of never stop designing, so it will continue to evolve. But you know, this one does show that existing building in the foreground or background. And you can look really closely behind this little person here. You can see that scale change between the 1 story of the connector and the 1 story of the clean room. Yep.
So I just wanted to jump back in here. We were going to start with this, and we kind of bypassed it. In terms of where we are in the process for this, we did submit a notice of intent today with the Conservation Commission. We have an upcoming hearing on May 14th. The commission has seen the project because we did apply for a request for determination of applicability. At that time, they decided or determined that we should submit an NOI, so that's why we're doing that, and they received the same set of drawings that you received. We have received staff comments on this set of site plans. We have addressed, according to Donnell, 90% of the comments that we've received from staff have been addressed and are reflected in these slides, but we still have a little bit more to do. We know we're going to be back here in front of this board as you're going to have questions and so forth. So we do have some other revisions to make, and we look forward to showing them to you. And I
Thanks,
think
Mike.
that concludes the presentation.
Thanks, Mike. I want to just jump in real quick. Just want to do some cleanup housekeeping. Thanks for starting the housekeeping, Mike. I just wanted to back up and state that we also are applying for a waiver for a traffic study and we're providing plan and profiles. That should be in the original submission with the application for this hearing. And I just wanted to reiterate, even though I'm sure everyone knows why we're in front of the board, but we are here for site plan review and approval and for a stormwater permit via the engineering department. Thank you. And with that said, I would like to open it up for any discussions that we could answer.
Okay. We'll start with questions from the board. Mike, do you want to start?
Sure. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it. I just had a couple quick questions. One of the questions I had was there was a note from the fire department review that you guys used the old truck turning radius sizes. I think it said, were those truck turning radiuses in this packet that we received, or did you guys look at the new truck turning radiuses to see if everything works out with the new larger trucks?
I'll take that question. Tanal Baptiste from High Point. Yes, so with the latest drawings that was sent to the Conservation Commission substantially addressed most of your comments, and that was inclusive in the Conservation NOI package. So the answer is yes. We updated the truck turning to reflect the most up-to-date template.
Okay, thank you. What's the existing building height? I know you said the new is 30 feet. What did you mention what the existing building height was?
Do you want to
Just trying
take that, Cindy, for the existing building height?
Yeah. She asked to come back to it, so I can go on the other questions and we can come back if that's okay. Darnell, you mentioned the EV ready. Are any of the spots actually EV for day one, or are they all just EV ready wired, but none are going to be installed?
It is my understanding that the EV ready is going to be functional with the current construction. Typically, I know previously I worked on a project and we had EV future and EV ready. So EV ready is slated to be functional when the project is completed.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question was, this perspective actually shows a good spot. Are any of these pedestrian pathways, are there raised speed tables or anything for pedestrian access for cars, or is it all flat? I was just curious.
I could take that, Danelle, again. Currently, it's proposed as being flat. We ran into issues when it's raised because it's going to hold back stormwater flow.
Yep.
So we felt it was best to propose it to be flat. That way we're not impeding any stormwater flows at the junction of the roadway and the sidewalk access.
Okay, thanks.
To answer your other question, the existing building is roughly 28 feet.
28?
Yep.
Oh, so so this looks like it's much taller. Is it not actually that much
Yeah,
taller?
it's hard. It slopes, so this front end here is about 26 feet. When you drive by, it looks much smaller because of the berm in front, and then it slopes up towards the back, and so it's about 28 feet at the back.
And are those measurements taken from the same average grade, or is that building have a different start point?
That's from our measurements that we've taken inside the building. We don't have full as-built of the original building, and we haven't done spot checks all the way around it, but it's from the slab inside the building to the underside of the roof deck on one end to the other side.
And then your new one is that the roof is at the parapet's at 30 feet, or the roof's at 30 feet?
The top of structure would be at 30 feet, so it will be
So
30
additional
feet
couple feet on top of that.
plus just the thickness of the roof and insulation to accommodate the slope. There's no parapet on this roof.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think I'm all set for now. Thank you.
Jim, do you want to go next?
Sure. On the snow removal, you mentioned there was an off-site trigger. Is there a trigger on that for moving it off-site, or do you have snow storage areas on site? If we only have an inch or two, typically, do you have areas you would leave it on site, or is every snowstorm going to trigger off-site removal?
That's a good question. Danelle Baptiste from High Point again. So I'm going to answer it based on my experience with the 2242 side. So we placed specific locations where snow storage will be. As far as accumulation, and if it's less than, say, 6 inches, it may not warrant a snow removal, but we strategically placed it outside the 100-foot buffer zone areas. So my assumption is it will dissipate, just like, normal snow melting in the pavement areas. The good thing about it is that when the snow melts, it is not going into the wetland areas. It is being directed to the stormwater basins where it will be treated as part of the normal rainfall.
Are those indicated on the plan somewhere?
Yes, sir. So if you, is there any way you could make it larger? Or I could just describe it. So if, yeah, perfect, yeah. So if, let's say the western property line and the wetlands. So there is a grayish hatch in between the tree line and the proposed parking. That is one area that's snow removal, and there is some isolated snow removal to the south of that, in between the future walkway and the stormwater basin. If you need me to get more specific, I just have one of the team members point to it, but it's there on the plans there.
So is it called out on the plan, or you're?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yep, so it is called out on this plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
Layout materials plan.
it's this section up here, the first one. Oh, thank you. Short person problems. This section up here that Danelle was describing first, and then the second area he talked about was this area. When he's talking about that future path, it's this, so sort of this area captured between them.
What about on the top right side? You got a lot of parking up there. Do we have snow storage up there?
No, I don't think there's any planned for up here.
That's all in the wetland.
We don't have any in that area. I mean, we could take a look at it and see if we could, we could sneak some in there, but there's not a whole lot of vacancy in that top right because it's getting close to the wetlands, and we can't really put it within that 100-foot buffer zone. So if we put anything there, it would have to be on our side, if you will, for lack of better terms, of the parking lot, which is going to block some of the landscape features in the plaza area and the entrance and the visibility and the traffic pedestrian movement. So it'll definitely be difficult to provide it in that area.
Danelle, I'm going to add that, we have 3 sites that are under control by Abiomed. Having experienced this winter and been on the site after some of those big storms, there's never been an operational issue on the site after, as they're clearing or, I've never had a problem parking there. I haven't heard of any issues. So they do a really exceptional job of clearing that parking lot.
Okay, so you're going to clear from right to left toward the area that, if you need to, in a 2-inch or 3-inch, 4-inch storm, it sounds like.
Correct. I think the other thing to keep in mind, yes, we don't want them storing by the wetlands, so we're intentionally not telling them to store anything in this upper area. But the other thing is the site slopes sort of from top down, so top of the page towards the building. So we also don't want to encourage snow storage, just a tongue twister, in this area that could melt towards the building. It's just not good practice. We want to get it away from the building, let the melting happen as it directs towards the stormwater retention areas.
So while we're talking about the stormwater areas, we're going to have native vegetation. Are we going to be mowing those every 6 months and maintaining them?
I would say yes, but I'll let Mike handle that question.
Yeah, that's correct. You can mow it once a year. Typically, they're gonna keep it mowed probably every, a couple of times a year just to keep it under control.
And what's the depth of each basin?
I'll let Danell.
I want to say the depth is no more than 5 or 6 feet at most.
And how long will it take for those to drain?
The basins are sized to dewater less than 72 hours. And I think those calculations should be within the stormwater report sent to the town under Mr. King's team.
Are you proposing any black gauge fencing around those stormwater detention areas?
No.
Okay. We do, as a matter of practice in town, oftentimes require that, just for purposes of safety, especially where you're near a neighborhood. I know this is a industrial complex, if you will, but I do know that a lot of people walk that area. Children, adults, et cetera. Have you given any thought to that, or somehow, preventing any issues from someone perhaps wandering into those areas?
So I've been doing this for a long time, and my argument is typically not to do it. I know that people can see it as an attractive nuisance. I do. I thank you for the acknowledgement that it's basically adults walking around here. It's not like a school or a residential
Well,
neighborhood.
there is a neighborhood
Yeah.
across the way that
Yeah.
there are children that do.
Yeah, but, it's something that we have discussed internally and with Abiomed. I think we can certainly raise that issue again with them. What we're trying to do is not make it feel like an industrial park. So
Yeah.
by putting these landscape areas in prison, and it's a harsh term, I know, but.
Well, I'm not talking a high fence. I'm talking, typically you might have I don't know.
Like a 4-foot chain link.
Yeah, just really a safety thing. And I can tell you that we oftentimes require them,
Yeah, okay.
especially in, subdivisions. We have required them in other commercial, industrial areas as well. So I don't know what, the feel of the board is, or I don't know what you think on that as well from staff. And the other question is, I know you're putting a lot of trees around these areas. Do you have a certain access point where you would be bringing your equipment in to maintain and so on? So when you're talking
I'm not
about,
sure I understand the question.
you're talking about coming in once or twice a year and
Oh, in the basins.
out the filtration area and mowing it and all that. Is there a particular route that your maintenance
No, it's
vehicles would go through?
those are 3-to-1 slopes. It's intended to be mowed by hand, basically. So
Yeah, the concerning issue is, to me, is you're saying 5 to 6 feet. And it'd be great if it drained in 3 days, but in some of these storms that we have, it may take longer. So you do have the attractive nuisance liability issue, which comes up, and, that's really a safety issue for the
yeah,
applicant.
let's come back. We'll have a discussion internally, and we'll come back.
Yeah, we typically have a certain black gauge fence, and there's certain structural requirements that we've required for other spots in town. And the other concern I had was, you mentioned that the applicant would be watering the vegetation, the landscaping, and we encourage drought resistant. We encourage, if you can, using a well. We don't necessarily want to use town water on this stuff if we can avoid it. So, so I don't know if you've given thought to that. I know you've mentioned native vegetation, but typically we require drought resistance, and we require you not to be watering this stuff. I mean, unless you dig a well or have your own well on site.
Let me get back to you on the water source. I think we are on town water, and there is irrigation there today.
Right.
So, and this will be commensurate with what we're doing on the other two sites. So let me check into that and get back to you. I think a lot of our vegetation is drought resistant.
Yeah.
My argument for the irrigation is, first of all, it's a big investment for Abiomed to plant all of these things. We want them to be able to keep the site healthy, and the plants healthy, because once that starts to go, the place doesn't look good
But you'll
as
see
intended.
around town, it doesn't take much to have a water ban.
Yeah,
And in the last several summertimes, you've seen that.
yeah.
So we don't want you watering the plants if the rest of the town is under a water ban at, 6 in the morning when no one's
Yeah.
open the new
Oh,
part of the building.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's why we don't allow you to have outside watering, typically. I mean, and I know you're investing a lot of money in the landscaping, but that's something that we encourage and oftentimes require in town, that it is drought resistant. And if you are gonna, water the stuff, that you have your own well. So, let me see. Other questions, how many shifts are we gonna have, and what are the hours of operation?
Currently, their staff work in 2 shifts. They don't do a 3rd shift. Although I think they could, but generally they get it all done in 2 shifts. I believe their hours start at 7 in the morning. I can come back and confirm that.
And how late do they go?
That is a good question. I'll have to double check. I think they only overlap by like an hour,
Okay,
but I can confirm.
okay. That's all I have at the moment, thank you.
Dave, do you want to?
No questions at this time. I'll reserve. Thank you.
John, do you have any questions? Okay. So I have not much. It looks like the existing building has solar panels on it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you planning on replacing them or putting them back onto the new building?
So those solar panels are not owned by either Abiomed or the building owner. I believe they are leased. The terms of, so it's a confusing site because there is an owner, not Abiomed. They are the tenant. The terms of their lease is that they can remove the ones on that office building only. The rest of the solar panels must remain. So any of the equipment that is tied to those solar panels, it's currently located in the office building that we're tearing down. We are relocating that, so the solar panels will stay, active. But at this time, we were not putting new solar panels on the building because Abiomed does not own the building. The owner of the site may elect to add solar panels back on the building
Okay.
in the future.
Okay, and then I just wanted to reiterate what Jim said about the native plants and the drought resistant. So I know that you guys have irrigation on site. A lot of times we say, irrigation is allowed, like truck in water to establish the plants, but then after they're established, then it would be really nice if we didn't have to use irrigation on them. So that's all I have. Thank you. Does anyone from the board have any other questions?
Well, is that a hard and fast rule, Josh? I mean, I think we have to be clear on the town stance on the watering and the drought. I know the drought resistance requirement. I'm pretty sure that, the watering part is definitely not encouraged.
So, so the question is it a shall or is it a recommendation or a strongly encouraged? Is that your question?
Yeah, I mean, well, they already have, if it was a new site, typically you may not even see outside watering capability, but they're telling you they have sprinklers and they've been sprinkling what's existing.
Sure.
And they're going to invest in a lot of new trees and so on. They obviously want to get them off the ground, but do we want them watering these things where the rest of the town is perhaps on a drought, and they can't water and, they'd be violating that drought restriction. But
Yeah, no, I mean, kind of what's been said by the board, I mean, I think we'd be strongly encourage the applicant to do as much native species, flora and fauna as, you know, as possible to avoid, you know, that situation for sure.
Yeah, I just want to see if it's a requirement in the zoning bylaw or there's a restriction that's clearly, you know, stated that we can hang our hat on.
Right. I mean,
Because I know other projects were pretty adamant about that. I know this is kind of in a separate area of town that's pretty much away from a lot of residential, but, you know, I don't want to set a precedent, you know, when we're allowing it here and not allowing it in other areas of town. Just like if you look at a lot of these sites in the last several years, we've required that black cage fencing around detention ponds.
right.
So,
Let me, while we're talking, I could look at, you know, our general conditions that we include in every decision. There might have been a comment in there about that, but if it wasn't in there, I don't believe that there's a shall per se, but I think it's sort of like our standard practice, you know, what we want, right? So I think we can work with the applicant team. I mean, I think that they said that you're at the 60-70% potentially at native. Maybe over the next couple of weeks, we could potentially, you know, work with them to increase that number, right? So,
What I'd like to add is that, first of all, I'll state for Abiomed that if there's a water ban, they're not going to water the landscaping. Happy to put that on the record. As far as the plant selection and the irrigation, let us come back to you, and we'll certainly work with staff. Let us come back to you with a more specific plan, because there's always in between areas, you know. For instance, you know, I would advocate for being able to water the area that's close around the building to keep those decorative plantings healthy. As you get further away from the building, maybe there's less irrigation, or maybe we don't water some of those lawn areas. And by the way, we're not going to water the stormwater basins if that's what anyone would.
well, if you have, I guess if you have a, you know, wetlands nearby, is that, you know, potential to be able to drive a point and have a well? Does that, I don't know if that's any indication that you may be able to use a well. Obviously, you can use a well if there's a drought. You know, you're not using the town water.
Yeah,
So,
I need to circle back with Abiomed to see what they're doing on the other sites, and and we'll have the discussion about the well
okay.
as well, and I'll get back to you with more specifics on the planting and drought resistance, et cetera. And I'll add one more thing. Any irrigation system is designed to EPA water sense standards, which is a low flow, low water use type of a system. They're pretty sophisticated these days.
Okay.
And we have a professional irrigation designer designing the system.
Okay. Thank you.
Just in terms of construction phasing and staging, is there an existing plan for staging of construction and material on site, or has any thought been given to that thus far?
I'll take that to Baptiste from High Point. So that's a good question. In my experience, we generally like to include all the different types of staging, erosion control devices, trailer parking, all what comes into fruition for a site prep erosion control plan. With that said, we've typically left the means and methods to the contractor to provide exactly where the storage and staging locations will be, where the final locations for the mobilization trailers and what have you. So we're depicted it on the plans, but we have not selected any phasing of how it's supposed to operate. At this point, there's no contractor that has been awarded, because obviously we're in the infancy stages of the project, but that's what we have now. We have it depicted, but we do not have a phasing plan, because the plan is still marginally malleable and making changes, but currently we do not have that.
At this point in time, is there an anticipated parking loss, or is there something that's being planned for?
Could you restate that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, is there an anticipated parking loss just at this stage, or is it still too early for that?
said parking lost?
Parking loss as a result of the staging or the material staging?
So it's.
Donnell, I can take that one.
depicted,
So the building's not occupied today.
Oh, okay.
So there is no loss in terms of active parking. The building won't be occupied until this work is done.
It's easy.
Easy answer.
Yeah.
It's easy. Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Are there any members of the public that have questions or comments
There's a couple of people up there.
on, maybe online?
It does not appear online. There's a, is Matthew Holt with the development team?
Yes.
Okay, so no one from the public then.
Okay, hearing none. So it sounds like we're going to continue this site plan review and public hearing to the May 26th.
Yes.
So can someone make a motion?
So moved.
Oh, I guess I would just, not to interrupt, does the development team have any questions or comments? Sorry, before we did that, or Donnell, did you have any comments or questions just while the board was here to work on
Yes,
over the next
Josh.
couple weeks?
Yes, Josh, I appreciate you open the floor back up.
Sorry, Gene.
So we have, we're going to be doing some modifications based on today's meeting and addressing some more of the comments. Is there any final or deadline in supplementary documents to the board to be heard at the next hearing that you guys have? Is there any cutoff points, so to make sure that we're meeting this deadline?
I mean, obviously, it would be beneficial, if, a couple weeks before, our next meeting, or maybe, I guess, Donnell, if the development team wanted to at least send staff electronic copy of what was sent to the Conservation Commission and/or revisions that were kind of discussed tonight. If the development team over the next couple weeks, after discussion, wants to make some revisions, maybe in the next 2 weeks, we could set up a brief meeting or conversation as a check-in, just to make sure that we're going into May 26th and have a productive conversation that evening.
Thanks, Josh. So I just want to clarify what you just said. So you would say 2 weeks, 2 weeks before the meeting, or 2 weeks from today's meeting?
I mean,
that we could circle
it
back?
just sort of just depends, the magnitude of revisions, I guess, that we're kind of talking about, right?
Okay.
But we could be in contact,
Okay. I'll reach out to your office and we could figure out a time offline, and that works with the
Yeah,
board.
that'll be fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
We don't need to do a continuance,
No, we do.
yeah, first.
Yep.
Okay, can I have a motion for someone to continue the meeting?
The application. Sorry.
The application and the site plan review to the May 26th meeting.
Dave, man.
I move that the application be continued until the May 26th meeting of the planning board.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Dave and seconded by Jim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. See you next month.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
The second item on our agenda is the meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review the meeting minutes from March 24th, 2026?
Move to accept.
Second.
Okay, Jim moves to accept the meeting minutes and seconded by Mike. All in favor, say aye.
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 About present, I wasn't there.
That's fine.
Oh.
You can still vote. You can still
Oh,
vote.
then yes.
If you read them.
Yep, I read them, yep.
Yep, okay. So 4-0, okay. Very good.
Josh, is there anything else for tonight?
Yep, I could just, so the next meeting is on May 12th. It will be in the Toomey Room. There will be an A&R application. There will be the continuance from the 156 Maple Street application that we discussed at a previous meeting. I think that's it for
Is there a
applications.
site visit for that?
Yes, so there was a site visit that is planned for that Thursday night, May 7th. Was there a preference with you folks being at 5:30 or 6? Was there a strong preference?
I actually can't make
I think
that
both
one.
Gene and I can't make
I
that
can't
one.
make it. My niece is getting married.
I can go.
Gene, you're a no?
Yeah, I didn't realize it
can't.
was an open house at
That's
school.
not good.
And Mike, you also said,
There's an event at the school. I don't know if we're attending or not yet, so I'm a maybe.
would it be beneficial to the three of you to potentially that week have set up another one? Like maybe have one or two?
I could even do it earlier in the day, just like the evening doesn't work.
Okay. What about Jim and Mike?
Friday's better just because I'm at home, but I mean, if whatever works for everyone else, I'll try to make it work.
Would another night that week be beneficial? And if we could have more than one. I was obviously I'm trying to,
Yeah.
make it happen. Would like that Wednesday or Tuesday that night for half an hour be good for anyone?
I think we should probably recirculate dates.
Yeah.
In consideration of Lou as well.
Yeah.
To make sure that he can.
Yeah.
to
Just before the
re-coordinate.
12th, right?
Just before the 12th, right. So, as we speak, 2 members at least can go on that Thursday at 5:30 or 6. Dave, did you have a preference between those times?
Sorry, which date? That was the 7th?
Yeah, May 7th, it's a Thursday.
I don't have a preference.
Okay. All right, so let me circle back with you folks about that, but it would probably be that week, probably. But thank you for everyone letting me know. And Jim, thanks for bringing that up about the site visit. That was on the to-do list. I think that's all I had for the evening, for that meeting, the next upcoming meeting, but.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, can someone make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Very good.
Good night.
Thank you.